welcome to episode 19 of the Culture Ultras podcast with me, James Allen, Fionn Bateza, and our guest today from Premiership stores Relive the League. It's Mike Wootton, everybody.
Hello, you all right?
I'm very good, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, fair to middling as always. Keep your glass half full.
I've never heard anyone describe the mood in horse terms.
Good to
soft. Good to soft.
Hey.
There.
Hello.
Well, we won't keep you for long. Let's
as long as you need. Let's
dive in. The 90s. Why?
Well, it was the last bit of when life was normal.
Right.
Footballers still look like us. You had like Steve Stone running around as a middle-aged man at 23. You had Andy Cole blistering goal-scoring records, but never getting recognised over Alan Shearer. Footballers were kind of more recognisable, and I think it's with the way the game's gone now, it's quite fun for people to look back and see when it was actually a bit more of a competitive sport and things. And we try and do it with a bit of light-hearted humour, but you can't really help how funny some of it is, really, especially the things we're doing at the minute in the 92-93 season. The back pass rules just come in, and goalkeepers have no idea. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to look. There's so many. They have no idea what to do. So, yeah, I'm sure they were berating that as much as they were VAR changes and stuff now. So that was quite interesting to rewatch. And
it's wokeness.
Yeah.
It's wokeness.
It's wokeness. Marty. Yeah, we started touching on a few like more moderner things. We started doing like first Premier League goals, and I've got one put together where I think we've taken one of Alan Shearer's goals off him as an own goal back from 92-93. So should he be a fan of VAR, that can always pop up as a bit of a show.
For those who don't know, you're doing sort of every Premier League match day is like a highlights package from 1993, aren't you?
Well, there's not a great deal. You can get hold of highlights and things out there, and it's not, let's say, we are doing week on week. We're trying to relive it, so we're chucking stats in there, relevant stats, relevant news back when it was. We've had old people. I'll say old people. We've had them. Like I said, it's nice to feel young again type of thing. It takes them right back, and I think it's brilliant. Or it would be for the younger generation to watch, because there's some phenomenal football in there. The names you'll never have heard of, even from clubs you'll have supported, and names you've forgotten about. So yeah, it's been a great trip down memory lane, and it's been stuck in 92, really.
I definitely think, like for me growing up, if it wasn't for Premier League years, or something like that, I think my football enjoyment would have been hindered somewhat. The 90s does remind me of very much the kind of last era where, especially in English football, it felt there was still quite a bit of a grittiness about it. I think, like whenever I watch.
Yeah. So if you look at the state of what football was in the community and everything in the 80s, it was nobody wanted to go watch football and things. And the Premier League did kind of change that. So it was kind of a hoorah as well, because football kind of got back into people's lives. There was some, I think it was 1988, something like that. There weren't even highlights on the telly for you to watch.
Match of the day was one game.
Yeah. It's Michael M. to fame. My granddad was a referee in the top level, and he did a match of the day when it was one game, Man United v Newcastle in the 60s or something.
Really?
Yeah. Good old Lawrence Cousins.
Hey.
Rest in peace, granddad.
That's not funny. Sorry, it's your granddad. Sorry.
How do we laugh? Well, it was known as LOL, shortened LOL, was granddad. That was a horrible Facebook post when he died. Rest in peace, granddad LOL. So
the importance of grammar.
Yes.
There is something. There's just, I don't know. I've got written down
you're
here.
abbreviation.
My dad thought it was lots of love
Cameron's
for about 10 years. He thought I was saying lots of love at the end of every text message for about 10 years. So, yeah.
Oh, do apologise. You have to spin round on my hand a minute because of my camera's gone. There we go.
There is something quite romantic and poetic about a quagmired dell from the mid-90s. Do you know what I mean? There's just something when
Quagmire Dell.
It's what you call a laptop with a dodgy hard drive. That Quagmire Dell.
Nowadays.
I remember one season my dad telling me, he goes, "Oh, they're relaying the pitch in this summer," like as if that was like a big thing to.
Yeah.
So, and that was he was talking about Liverpool. So, oh yeah, they're relaying the pitch in the summer. That'd be a good thing for us. Like, don't they do that every week? And isn't it like nowadays it's plastic sewn in and it's balmy. Teams used to use the pitch as well to their advantage, and that's the last of them days. Like Alex Ferguson notoriously with longer grass on the wings, and you could waterlog the middle for zippier passing. Or the pitch is a lost art in winning in football. Ferguson used it a lot.
I think that's another thing about the 90s is kind of like, you could say it peaked into the early noughties, but the kind of next level shithousery in terms of the way football was played has kind of ended. Like Pulis, I'd say, is kind of the last of the long ball. Allardyce.
Warnock, I would Warnock is the last.
Well, it's still it. Yeah, there
was a lot of Premier League years goals.
I think.
Oh, sorry, you carry on.
They are hoofits, aren't they?
Yeah.
It was obviously every team kind of went for the big man, little man up front. Tottenham carried that on into the future with Defoe, Crouch, and it always works. Like you can do your tiki taka and everything like that, but nowadays, like Burnley aren't Brexit anymore, but they survived for a couple of years on 4-4-2. Do you know what I mean? And I think some teams could go back to playing, but you can't play 4-4-2 on a finely cut green.
Yeah.
Not with Man City zipping around like wasps.
You can't hoof it on Bermuda grass. What interesting, like how you
can't play long ball at B&Q. There you go.
I'm interested to know how you kind of like you're obviously trying to do it each match day. How do you find like footage basically, especially for ones that I imagine are quite hard to get?
Yeah. Well, it's all hard to get. It's hard to get any good footage. It all looks like how people say nowadays it's recorded on a potato. So some of them, it's hard to get good footage of it all. But there's stuff about on YouTube. People have plastered kind of their watermarks on it. So something you don't really want to use their kind of things. There's no kind of anthology in place where these are. You can watch them. So that was the idea behind it. And we use a lot of newspapers from the time.
Yeah.
So on Ancestry.com, they have newspapers, so you can join that. And so we basically go back and read the week's news, the back pages. Yeah.
Oh, John Major under fire. And City scored again.
Well, that's it, yeah. So you've got, at the minute, there's a massive scandal going on with Fergie, Prince Andrew's wife, on the front pages. We haven't covered any of that just yet. We don't want to tar any brushes, but so we've got there's loads. The headlines in it are brilliant, and obviously that's a trip back in time itself with the way people write things, and it's got every page in it as well, so you see the comic strips and do a crossword from '92. So
wow,
and at least Prince Andrew has stayed scandal free since. So
I don't even think he's scandal free in the papers in '92, if I'm perfectly honest. Letizia is scandal free in '92.
Yeah, well, it's such a shame, really, because it's like you see under what I really love, right? Under every this is a proper aside, but like under every Letizia insane tweet, about, sonic waves at the fucking chip shop or something. Like there'll be like someone will take the piss, and then there'll be one guy who goes, "He's a Premier League legend. The fuck have you done?" Yeah, but he's talking absolute shite. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yes, everyone talks about his greatest hits videos, but as long as it's up to 2020,
yeah.
Anything after that. But that's like with Twitter and stuff as well. Things football teams, it's prefacing things. Like, how many times in real life do you ever kind of speak to someone and say, as a Man United fan, like, that's one thing I always see on Twitter. As a Liverpool fan, so if something bad happens, this is terrible from a Liverpool fan.
Class.
Yeah.
Class.
Don't normally like them.
Respect.
Now, I don't normally like them, but that's respect from a Fulham fan.
I'm not usually one for Blue Stilton, but I'm usually a bit more for Bremen. But that's fine.
Has there been anything that's I don't know how to say this, but has there been anything that's kind of surprised you looking back? Obviously, you had your initial memory of the 90s football wise. Has there been anything since you've looked back that gone, oh, I don't remember that way, or this? Like,
yeah,
for
massively.
Me, the 90s, the ball seems a lot easier to kick, in my opinion.
Well, they were as a band. Them miters, they didn't have a bit of weight to them when you're headering them and things. But it was, you could hit them, but they didn't have it, especially if you got one on the thigh in the winter. But yeah, it was still heavier balls. This is before they had names for balls and names for everything. Do you know what I mean? Like the Jabulani, the roundest ball. Yeah. It used to be, I've got the new Pumas.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and now there's a name for everything, different colourways and things like that. The boots. We do a podcast on side that we're looking to do a bit more of this year, where we moan and try and chuck things out of football, and boots haven't even been covered yet. We've got plenty more on that. Footballers cutting holes in socks is our biggest gripe.
Have we noticed, right, in 92 yet? Is there like a prevalence of multicoloured boots yet? Or are we still all in black?
No, there's none.
There's none.
There's hardly any foreigners.
Back when they were a country.
Yeah. If a foreign player came over, it was like, oh my god! Like I remember when
he's Welsh.
Ginola signed for Newcastle, and it was on Match of the Day, and commentator, I think it was Motson, said David Ginola, and I remember my dad going, "It's bloody David Ginola! What's he saying it like that for?"
Oh, that's funny.
I speaking of boots, not the pharmacist. We've had a couple of DMs about like I was showing you sort of like 90s football catalogue. I think there's, and as well with balls as well. I think there was a point up until maybe Mitre got the deal. Even then, like, clubs were still using balls that were kind of branded. Like Man U used an Umbro ball. I've seen in a couple of clips.
They may have. Yeah, that might have been like cups and things. I was always under the impression, but I might be wrong, that it was always Mitre. There may have been a change in ball for a couple of, because obviously it is Nike and things now, so there may have been that transition. But I think there was, like you say, balls that teams did play with that they were issued with their club badges on. I do believe.
I was never around. I was never around for Pony. But I kind of think that Reebok were my pony, because they kind of blossomed a bit in the early ones, and now they've gone away.
Reebok.
And they've gone away. They've gone away completely.
Pony were great. There's so many lost brands from football from the 90s.
You're donning the Mizuno jacket there, aren't you?
Mizuno, yeah. Well, I thought people usually wear like classic football shirts or everything, so I thought I'd wear something more indicative of my playing career, and it's a Mizuno sub-slip. So, yeah, from the 90s as well.
I've got the Retro Borough one on.
Oh, Retro Borough.
Yeah, there we go.
They're one of the teams the check.
That's James got Harlequins jumper.
Levi's, mate. Levi's. Fun fact: Levi's sponsored Mexico in one of the '70s World Cups. So,
wow,
there you go.
Yeah, the man with supreme World Cup knowledge as well. So, yeah.
What can I say? It's my Olympics. Wow. That's the one thing I miss. Is like, and assume I want to ask you this: like, ringing up a catalogue and saying, "Can I have a pair of Kelmays size 9s?" There's something about that to me that sounds so beautiful. Now that, especially as a kid, when I'd go into JJB, and you'd be quite limited to choices on the rack. You'd have your Nike, your Pumas, your Umbros. Where's your Mizunos? Where's your Asics? Where's your Reeboks? Your Diodora?
My first pair were Patrick.
Worn by
Patrick Kevin Keegan's with plastic screw-in studs. They were.
Wow.
Yeah, they were fantastic. But Patrick were the maker's name in boots up until that time.
I remember.
And you see, it's like with brands when you see in other sports and things, and it used to be like the maker's name in the sports, and now people just like guffaw at them, like Slazenger with cricket, for example. Makes just go, and I don't understand it.
My dad, because my dad was manager of our junior football team, but he was one of them where, like, I was, if anything, treated too harshly instead of given the the favouritism. But I remember it was always the sign. It was always the mark of a bad parent. Who bought, usually the mark of a divorced parent as well, that would buy I say as a family friend, a single mother, so this is not a Tory prejudice. Preface that. But the I remember like there's lads who turn up in, I've just bought these like £140 like Nike fucking paedophile boots, that yellow fucking green shit, and they'd always like, you're like 10 years old, you're gonna grow out of them in like 6 weeks, and your dad's just spent 120 quid on you because he feels bad about the divorce. Fuck off. Anyway, that had no point to it. There you go.
But it does lead into something fair, because I don't know about your guys' age, but in the 90s when I was at school and knocking about and stuff, we always had AstroTurf trainers.
Yes.
And everyone you were ready for football wherever. Drop of a hat, let's have a game. And now they wear these expensive, like, you can't imagine going in like 110s to primary school and ending one in from 20 yards, can you? You need to live through an AstroTurf trainer age, otherwise you won't mature correctly.
Your shoes need to be a minimum of 10% sand / whatever that black shit that you put on some of them is.
Yeah.
Or just get some traditional Adidas Sambas. They're the best ones for kicking a ball in, Sambas.
No.
My dad swore by Sambas. As a kid, I was very much, and I genuinely liked them. This wasn't because a low income thing. Lotto were my preferred boot of choice. I loved Lotto. I had a couple of pairs of Lotto trainers. I
remember a lad turned up in a pair of powder blue Lotto once.
Ooh.
I got skittered at all the time in school for wearing Lotto. You are not appreciating the culture. Watch Pavel Nedved. Watch Cameronese. You are not.
Did you cameo wear?
I think. Let's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, no.
Di Canio before 03.
Yeah.
A lot of things I don't agree with.
Pushing referees, however. Not one of them. I agree there.
My granddad was interviewed on Sky Sports because of that.
Oh, really?
What? No way.
When he went.
I can't remember. We had it on tape, but I can't remember. I remember them interviewing it because they always used to say he was the oldest ref in the country at the time. I don't think he was though, but they always used to say he was because he still ref right till the end.
He did the thing. He had that nice gesture where an Everton player injured himself and he picked up the ball and stopped.
Picked up the ball, yeah. He won Evertonian hearts there, I think.
I mean, I'm not saying that excuses his beliefs, but I'm just saying polarised.
The ball once when Paul Gerrard went down injured.
Fascism on the one hand, put the ball out of play. Well, who's to say which is worse? Supporting a tattoo of Mussolini, or
put it in the comments. Let's start a poll on Twitter.
There's a great
Mussolini tattoo, or he put the ball out of play. What's better? Let's decide.
There's a great interview on Newsnight of Greg Dyke, Paul Dacre is former editor of News of the World, and Steve Coogan talking about the phone hacking thing. And
talking of tattoos of Mussolini, Paul Dacre.
Emily Maitlis goes, will you continue to tamper with phones again? And Paul Dacre goes, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it was, a form of titillation. And Steve Coogan goes, yeah, but Hitler liked dogs. And it's just, yes, fuck you, Paul Dacre. From I can't make a link there.
This is a tough one.
So from fascism, we go back to Bradford City's running the Premier League.
Which was sensational, by the way.
I've accidentally done a segue there. So, like, when you think like your Oldhams, your Swindon towns,
yes, yeah,
your Bradford cities, there's more. But Barnsley in the Prem.
What?
At one point?
Yeah, they were. I think around 97 time. They were in there 2 seasons. I think they survived one year. They had, they had one lad who come to York, Scott Jones. I think he scored a famous goal in the FA Cup for him as well around that time. Yeah, they had a good little spell.
I didn't know Barnsley.
I still see a lot of these teams as Premier League teams. It's a great football manager challenge now because Oldham are in conference because they're getting back to the Prem. What do you mean back to the Prem? They're League One as League One can be. But
that's the thing that ages you instantly. I find is like you have your era of they're like for me like Portsmouth in League One. Like no.
Well, that's the thing. I remember them as a Championship club growing up.
I have the same thing with Yeovil Town. They've had 5 consecutive relegations.
Yeah.
I remember they beat us in the Championship.
Sensational.
And then
I didn't even know that. I didn't realise. Wow.
Yeah. But I remember taking them to. I remember signing Aruna Kone for Yeovil Town on a Championship manager. Oh,
really?
Wow.
Then I took him with me to Plymouth. Yeah. I went and did the fucking
sign somewhere recently in that level. Papi Cisse, is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Has he?
Oh,
I'm sure he has. Somewhere in the English non-league. Yeah, that'd be one to visit. I'm sure he was going there. Yeah.
Well, you must need the Wonga.
Macclesfield. You just said Macclesfield.
Macclesfield. There you go. Yeah.
The Silkman.
Yeah.
The format of your show, I absolutely love because what you've done it, and I've had the pleasure of guesting on it. Is you do what I think is the hardest skill in the sort of football highlight shows. Is I think the whole what do you call it? The whole intro into Match of the Day where Gary Lineker does his like the monologue and then goes watching this one at the Hawthorns, Guy Mowbray. That's all. I think that's boom. You can do that. You can practice that. The highlights, but because the highlights are so much shorter, it's all about the cadence. It's all about how you. So I don't know, I don't know how you do it. Basically, I'm very. You live in my dream job in many ways. I mean, when I did it, I had to record it about 30 times. I had to go Liverpool or Villa Park. No, that's wrong. And start again. It's quite tricky.
So we Ben, I quickly mentioned he can't be here because his mother passed away this weekend. So Ben, thinking of rest in peace, Joe. He's my stat man. Really, he gets so many stats that he can just pull out of his ass. It's absolutely brilliant. We've had Rob from the Premiership Years Twitter account guest as a stat man one week as well. So shout out to Rob. But yeah, it's more so. I like doing the lineups because we like to chuck all the names in, especially when you notice them and things. And then it can be very, very tricky to do because sometimes you don't know what player it is because of how bad the footage is. But sometimes you've got a bit of footage where the commentator at the time will say who it is, and then I don't know. I kind of just try and go for one breath.
And you have to filter out Ron Atkinson as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Speaking of fascism, again.
Yeah.
But it's even things like
it's
even things like I don't know, for example, but if Burton Albion thought the second half would be any different, they're in for quite a surprise. As Derby County netted the second, things like that. That's such a skill. I think that's
Gabriel Clark is the best.
Yes, Gabriel Clark.
Gabriel Clark is the
master
best.
of the craft.
He used to do the Championship ones, and they'd be such beautiful segues from I don't know. And it was a dismal affair down at Swindon this afternoon, but not looking so dismal was in the Kent countryside was of course Gillingham. That's a really poor example, but there's just so many of them.
Yeah. Just twist on. I've seen you took one as well in Jersey.
Really stupid stuff and Stokes' defence must have been thinking Patrick Swayze was up front as he ghosted in the Potteries to score.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Commentary's changed, and everyone's balmy with commentators now, aren't they? They hate slating him. They were screaming for Peter Drury for years, and now they're slating him on Sky. The commentary, it's. I don't know. I think there's different things you can do with it, like I say, in a more reviewing sense. A lot of people find it more fun. You don't want to listen to all the I remember Sam Matterface, for example. He's very, very radio trained, isn't he? He's almost like he's still on the radio, so he'd be like talking about Pep Guardiola's new fur-lined coat as he stands on the sideline, and it's a corner. Like it just goes off on one. He's very descriptive, and it's like, yes, we can see it, Sam.
But like,
who did the pass?
I'll fight any man who disrespects Peter Drury because it's just like, what are you looking for? Like,
exactly.
I think he's great. I think he's brilliant.
The worst ones are always your Jermaine Geniuses who go, "Oh well, that's a corner." Cheers, Jermaine. Cheers for that.
I'll speak up as a fellow commentator that I can say now. It's a hard job. It really it's you always think like when you like play Football Manager or whatever. I don't know if you do that yourself and you commentate out loud when you play on the pitch. And, but when it's there and you kind of don't know what's going on and you've got to go over it, there is it's a hard one to time to.
I came up with several songs to the tune of Shakira songs for both the men on the wall here when during lockdown because I had nothing else to do. But
I think we've all been guilty of something like that.
I tried to commentate on whole games over lockdown, and the trickiest thing I found is when
you tried to commentate on the whole games over lockdown.
Yeah, so I'd watch like a classic game, mute it, and then so for example, like here's an example I can use. So like for example, if it was like Chelsea at the time, what I found most tricky was like if there's quite a few passes, like you quickly struggle with Mount. Back to James there, back to Mount. Can they fact that?
Anyway, am I saying too much? Why don't you say some nice build-up play by Chelsea?
Exactly.
Resulted in.
But the thing is though, is like when you see someone like just the it's confident. If anybody out there ever feels any form of imposter syndrome, don't, because the BBC gave Jermaine Genius a World Cup final. Always remember that.
Wow.
So there you go.
Speaking of which, the BBC have given Mark Clattenburg the Gladiators referee job.
I saw that.
The man has sent off, I don't know how many players. He had to send off. He had to send off Bionic last week.
He went in his book. Turn around, son. Let me sing it out.
You cannot do that. You cannot do that.
He's got a Champions League trophy on his arm, hasn't he?
Yeah. And Euro 2016 as well. The man has managed Europe's elite, and now he's sending off bodybuilders.
He's managed Stephen Ireland with hair. Now that was an era. What a player he was in the Thomas Cook shirt with Alano.
That City
what
era,
a team.
Samaras,
Michael Johnson, kebab shop owner, famous.
Yeah, Michael Johnson. It's a funny thing with Man City's eras because they went by so quickly. I realised on the day it was only 4 years before the Sheikh took over. That Man City started with David Seaman in goal at 40.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And he got injured, I think he did his shoulder in, and he retired, and they replaced him with a 34-year-old David James.
Yeah.
That's just 4 years away from what is the era crazy. Now, really. Do you know what I mean?
They did pinch a lot of, like, sort of, like, maybe in the...
Yeah, that was a great team, wasn't it? City's Reebok era. Fowler, McManaman.
Did Dan and Dunn at the back as well.
They even had Schmeichel in goal at a stage, didn't they?
Yeah. There's that infamous Manchester derby where they don't acknowledge each other, isn't there?
Andy Cole up front, Antoine Sibierski. What a player.
Bernardo Corradi, of course.
Sean Wright Phillips, everyone's wonder kid.
Yeah.
Of course,
I was ball boy for York against Man City once in what is League One now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When they had the fall from grace, but they had the epic Kappa kit with the brother on. Even I had that top. It was a nice top.
Nice.
Yeah, we're ball boys. So I like to think that maybe one of my quick acting ball backs to a Man City full-back for a throw-in is part of what they do today, because it was at the start of their rise. So I'd take full responsibility for Man City's rise.
I think everyone, like, go back to the Peter Drury thing. What people don't like about Peter Drury is that
he's intelligent and everyone is fucking stupid. That's what people don't like.
My hero for me is Clive Tilsley. I think he's got the emotional heft to carry a goal decision.
Mine will be Jonathan Pearce in that sense. Jonathan Pearce's commentary.
Yeah.
On Robot was. Yeah, on Robot was.
When Chaos 2 flipped out Wheelie Big Cheese in Series 3,
Oh, Razor. Razor. Oh, Razor. It's Mark an idiot who doesn't remember Razor.
I had a remote control Killalot. Still
Ooh.
got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Still got it. I found it back in my mum's cupboard the other week.
I had a
met
panic attack last week.
I met Jonathan Pearce at yeah. I met Jonathan Pearce at Piccadilly Station when we were under Pulis, and he asked me what I thought about him, and I didn't tell him the truth. And then he went on to tell me that he was close friends with Tony Pulis, and I'm glad I didn't tell him the truth.
Can you imagine Pulis knocking on your door?
All right, pal.
Turns his cap round. What did you say?
I'm about to get these white trainers mucky.
He's brought Ricardo Fuller.
Don't win. Out the car.
Yeah. Ricardo Fuller and Kevin Jones turn up behind us heavies. Glenn Whelan with the admin.
Please.
What are you doing? Like Dead Man's Shoes. What are you doing at Piccadilly Station? Just mooching about.
No. Just
talking to Jonathan Pearce.
Just the. I just remembered as well. Liam Lawrence. Do you remember him?
Liam Lawrence.
Yeah.
The man with the fashionable hairstyle.
Yes.
It was ruled himself out for 3 months once because he fell over his dog and fell down the stairs.
Wow.
Who was the lad who he looked like Liam Lawrence, but he played for Trinidad and Tobago?
Chris Birchall.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Birchall.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Port Vale legend.
Yeah, that was a wild one, wasn't it? Yeah. And of course, he played against in the controversial Peter Crouch game and why he's banned from Trinidad.
Oh, for dreadlock pulling.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's massively hated over there. I listened to one of his podcasts.
You know the player who did that against? I'm pretty sure was Ian Goodison, who played for 20 years for Tranmere.
Yes, Tranmere legend.
Really? Yeah.
Speaking of Tranmere legends, Chris Greenacre has just been appointed manager of the under-20s for New Zealand. So thanks for coming on, Mike.
Fantastic.
It's been a pleasure.
Phenomenal. How can that be? Yeah. I remember back in his Mansfield days when he used to terrorise York's defence.
Wow.
Great player, yeah.
Peter Drury, I'd say, is what people don't like about him is that it's the poetry behind things. I think he sets the scene very well, Peter Drury. He's very good at preamble, during the moment, post-match. He ticks all the boxes.
I think he's always been brilliant at that. And I think what's happened is Sam Matterface has done it too much. He's overexposed the fact that it maybe is a little bit scripted. And now it's like, oh, no, he was scripted all along. We loved him.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a symptom of just like the fact that football is sort of ruined because that people find something to find something to whinge about with commentators when really what you're whinging about is the
so you got too much to whinge about.
Yeah, really, what your problem really is capitalism. It isn't Peter Drury.
Yeah.
Everything anyone's ever had to moan about football has been changed and it's ruined the game. Like, let's say we had the back pass rule that was introduced because of Denmark in Euro 92. Have you seen them clips before when they just passed it back to Schmeichel who kept picking it up and rolling it out? And
Jesus.
And they kept the results. So they changed that. People were in uproar about that. Like I say, go back, look at 92, kind of, even up to 93, 94. Goalkeepers had no clue. You kicked them the ball. Like slicing it into the net from 8 yards out to the left. It's brilliant. It is. And then obviously we moaned about offside for years, and I think for a while we had it sorted from about 97, so about 2004. It was daylight. If there was daylight between the players, it was offside. If there was no daylight, and that's what it should be now. It shouldn't be lines drawn. I know they'll be looking for daylight, like minimum bits.
And do you know what closed the blinds? Shaving foam on the free kick wall. Let them encroach. Let them encroach.
I tell you what is the biggest thing going on to free kicks. It's only happened 3 times or 4 times in history. Why on earth are players laying down behind the wall?
Oh yeah.
Yes. The draft exclusive, they call that.
It's only the only time I can remember that happening is like one for Messi and one Alan Thompson for Celtic in like 2005.
Coutinho and Ronaldinho both got famous ones as well. I think Coutinho did one against Villa in was it in the cup? It was in a midweek game.
Yeah.
But yeah, ever since that they just lie down every time. So it's just absolutely pointless. You can't set that as a setting on Football Manager set pieces, so it's not real.
You said there, Mike, about offside rules. Like you gave me a vivid flashback of remember this. What Borough playing Leeds in about when it was changing when the offside rule was changing. There's a goal, Joseph Desiree Job, the greatest player of all time.
Desiree Job. What a mention!
Had him on my shirt every fucking year. Come on, until my mum took me to
Hamilton Ricard. Yeah, go on.
Job. And then until he went on loan to some Qatari club, and then I still wanted it on, and then the lad in the shop went, "Oh, but he might not come back." So then my mum was swayed onto getting me George Boateng. I wanted Joseph to say a job, but
It's a
anyway,
change.
George Boateng, still legend. Anyway, there's a goal that he scored against Leeds where he gets it on the counter attack, and I don't know how it happened, but there's at least 30 yards till the next player back. But he just keeps looking over his shoulder like this about 10 times, takes it round the keeper. Give one more look at the linesman, scores. But it was just after they changed it. It's like one of the strangest goals I've ever seen.
No, but they always get them though. When the rules change, there's so much comedy moments around that. They're well worth looking back at. Any rule change.
One of the things I really enjoy is that I think has kind of preserved through maybe the entirety of football, which is slowly sort of changing now due to appeals being successful, is the automatic demand of a replay with it not going your way. Like there's so many what ifs and buts.
Oh yeah, what is that about?
Handballs.
How entitled you have to be for that?
Yeah. I demand.
Do you know what I mean?
Twitter. I demand a replay.
Your
profile pictures Optimus Prime.
Don't get me going on Twitter, football fans. The Stan football accounts are my biggest bugbear in the world. I seen one the other day, and it was like mentioning a few young players, and obviously they call them star boys, don't they?
No.
And they're saying so and so's worth so and so, so and so's worth so and so, and then a Man United fan put, well, how much is my star boy Kobe Mainu worth? It's like, the fella's played 4 games. Like my star boy Kobe Mainu.
No.
Yeah.
Demanding replays like Ayaz in 2009.
Yeah, well, to continue that trend, the only Starboy I recognise is Tinchy Strider off his debut album Starboy.
Yuri Gagarin for me.
Gagarin.
But yeah, just a thought, like, do you know what, guys? I've listened to Hammers Go Mental 159. If anyone's free for the end of May, we'll ask Luton. We'll see if they want a neutral venue. Let's do it. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's never, ever going to happen. There's been so much ridiculous. Have you ever seen the one with Arsenal and Sheffield United? I think I was in the Cup or possibly in the league. There's if you're looking for replays and things, what about when West Ham managed to stay up? I can't remember the teams that got relegated when they had Tevez and Mascherano.
Sheffield United
and things like that. They're the closest things you'll get to been having a strong enough case for a replay.
My favourite one is Thierry Henry's handball against Ireland.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Which has cultivated a hatred for the man.
A bit like Crouch in Trinidad and Henry in Ireland. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the main cases for VAR was that. So
yeah.
Not only were we betrayed as a nation, we were.
It's a very strange thing that VAR into every single day it changes.
Yeah,
I have no idea what it's even looking for now. Sometimes.
Well, the reason they keep it right, the reason it's going to keep being shite is because it drives money for people. Whinging. It drives articles, drives advertising, drives profit. So we live in a.
When you're growing up and things like I watched football in the 90s, the 2000s, and then now you got the 2000s, which was pretty much the same. It started changing. It was all about the enjoyment of the game.
Yeah.
Like you could happily sit down and when they put on Sky, they'd have the championship games. You'd sit and watch them. It'd be great. You'd watch any game of football. But now it's just so arduous watching football. It's not. And half the time you've got your accumulator on. You've got a dodgy box on and telling you scores first. And it's just not fun anymore. Like you see people scoring goals in Champions League and just waiting, watching the screen. Like you should be pulling your shirt off and doing backflips.
Yeah. What I find...
Newcastle fan.
I don't want to sound... Sorry, Fionn, you go.
I was going to say, it's all Guardiola's malign influence, that, isn't it? Du kan only score from fucking 2 yards out. Don't know why he's got a list, but he hasn't.
I've noticed the one this year, and it's been going on for a few years, but they're really, really trying to shove it down our throats this year, that people have got set-piece coaches now. Keep mentioning it on Premier League games, like, they've been working hard with their new set-piece coach. And it's like...
And that will improve our XG.
XG, yeah. It's
useful on Football Manager though to know you've been robbed. So,
well, I can't understand what's happened with the basics of football, which is 11 blokes kicking a bag of wind around the field, right?
Yeah.
It became
Fabian Delph's half-time team talk. It's the basics.
Yeah. Well, that's essentially what it is, but now it's not. It was kick, ball, goal, save. And now it's all about different images, different things, different and that's why I love the non-league, and that's why I don't know. Like I mentioned roughly, I'm looking to get involved in the rebirth of a non-league club soon. With a guy on Twitter, Whitney Town down in Oxford. We're looking to start potentially doing something there. They're rebirthing their club, a Phoenix club. We're looking to try and get involved. If you want to get involved in anything, boys, let us know. Because we've got Rivero Sport.
I'll go down and fill David Cameron in, no problem.
Yeah, we've got Rivero Sports who have said they'll do a kit like from the 90s. We're going to try and work and do that. So we're always looking for a collaboration on that because I'm not a kit designer. We've asked some kit fellas online to have an input. We want to kind of make we want to try and look at making a culture club. So it's more like, And I didn't mean that just as a drop. That was something. So just somewhere like a non-league club that people can go watch a bit of football at and have a pint. I think that's the angle. Yeah. We're going to have the initial discussion about it and things. It's going to be very low down, but I think it'd be a nice idea. Get some football shirt things down there, just somewhere to hang out every so often.
I have just fell on my knees in my fiance's office. This sounds amazing, and it'll counteract the point that I saw yesterday from some idiots. I watched a guy, he's a very good YouTube content creator, his name's Vize, so he's a Burnley fan, and he was doing what we're kind of doing here, like deconstructing the absolutism of football and hot takes and all that nonsense. There was a clip of a podcast where a guy says, I think if you follow QPR, you can't really enjoy football, you don't like football. Now, to the dry sarcastics, that might be a comment on QPR's recent form, but to say that you pour your heart and soul into something means that you don't like something that isn't the Premier League, I think is.
But what, you don't like winning, bro? Yeah. Don't like winning, innit? You got to support a team that wins, innit?
Morally abhorrent. Morally abhorrent. So, Whitney Town, the perfect answer.
Whitney Town, big shout out. Hopefully we get to get a few people down for and make some money for them. Like I say, it's no financial gain involved from myself. Just something I think that could happen. Help a club that the guy who owns Ribeiro Sports remembers the club from the 70s. Remembers that they had good fans. Do you know what I mean? There's a potential club structure there, and I think that with the way that the game is and the kind of culture that goes about with people who are into the retro football, it could be kind of a good idea for everyone to get involved in. So.
Have you seen the documentary about Admiral?
No, this sounds right up my street. Yeah.
That's very good. That's very good. Ribeiro, Admiral, match winner.
Yeah. They even used to be, if you look back, like I think Leicester used to have Fox Leisure.
Yes, Crazy Gang, Wimbledon. They're in-house.
And there was the Lecoq Sportif, the Sporty Cock. Yeah. That was a great make. Everyone had the Coq Sportif tracksuit bottoms at school.
I remember having them. Yeah.
Umbro, like I still do love Umbro.
This is the thing with Umbro, yeah.
In school, it was like, no, you're poor.
Yeah, well, in the 90s, they sponsored England. The Michael Owen wore Umbro.
Yeah,
Alan Shearer wore Umbro.
The Lightning Seeds wore Umbro.
The Lightning Seeds, what a band! Yeah. What a band!
Yeah, great. And now they sponsor all sorts of. They sponsor Dynamo Dresden. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they genuinely do. Fact.
Phenomenal.
No.
They once shared a taxi with Henri Camera.
Get the Henri out.
I was going to ask, is there any particular moments from that, especially like 90s Football League or Premier League, that you hold in high regard? Any favourite standout moments?
Well, At the minute for me, because I'm 36, I don't fully remember watching the 92-93 season myself. I'm on 93-94. I can remember it happening. But watching Norwich from 92-93, it's unreal. They've got a player on the wing. I think he was 29 years old at the time, called David Phillips. He's unbelievable at football. And I've told him on Twitter that I love him. And he's responded, so hey. I'm more than happy. Yeah, so things like that. Seeing teams like Norwich and being able to go back and seeing Ipswich playing a 36-year-old John Walker with a tash and a mullet up front, despite signing him as a centre-half, and he's the top scorer at this point in the season. It's just seeing people go on like York City spells, 9-game unbeaten runs, all draws. Like, it was just phenomenal. Yeah.
9 games winless, 9 games unbeaten.
Yeah, 9 games unbeaten. That's all it is. Yeah.
Touched on it earlier. I suppose the advent of the hair transplant means that players now who do look 40 are 40, whereas 30 years ago.
I really do feel for Stephen Ireland being 5 years behind the trend. Wow. Because the career that man could have had if he had a hairline. If you ask any City fan from the Thomas Cook era, when they first started, the player that they used to say was their top performer was Stephen Ireland. He was great with Stephen Ireland at that point.
Before his grandmother died 4 times as well.
Yeah.
There's going to be a correlation in 10 years, I think, of bald players finishing their career at Bursaspor.
Sounds like a book.
Yeah. From Bolton to Bursaspor. I don't know. I mean, mate, this has been a fantastic podcast. I mean, I could just list. This happened. David Bentley. There you go. There's another footballer that's popped into my head.
Bentley, crikey, yeah. Frank Kedrew.
Yeah.
Chuck it back and forth. Frank Kedrew.
David Bentley famously interviewed. I just fell out of love with the guy. Just fell out of love.
He said to be a restaurateur in Spain, like Lee Sharp. Aspired to be Lee Sharp. He didn't quite do Love Island like Lee Sharp, but yeah.
Torquay United to United. So there you go. Not many people remember he played for Torquay. I do.
I've got my old Xbox 360 back because I can't let go of the past. And I've rebooted FIFA 11. Hereford United.
Fantastic.
United.
Well, if you did FIFA 13, York City.
I met a load of lads from Hereford in Bosnia, because of course it is. The moment of bonding was because I saw one of them had like the old cow badge on.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Hereford, I don't support them, but I'm from Bury. They've just died as well. Oh, really? There we go.
Ronnie Radford.
Ronnie Radford.
They say you bond the most over grieving. So.
Yeah. There you go.
That is true. 2007 Champions League final. Anyway,
think about Blackburn summer 2003 when they lost David Dunn and Damien Duff. I bet it's still scarred. What a horrible summer that would have been.
No.
Yeah.
Done and dusted. There you go. It writes itself. It writes itself.
That's it.
That's it. We have to end there. It's not getting any better than that.
Perfect headline for the Lisp Times. Anyway, sorry.
I've just noticed my folded sheriff scarf. What that was, James. There you
go. I'll be applauding into the night with that.
This has been I love doing this. This is so cool. This has been absolutely lovely.
I've loved it, yeah.
Michael, where can people find you?
You can find us on Twitter at PremStarsHQ, on YouTube even, or at Premiership Stars, I believe. I'm not very good at promoting ourselves, are we? But yeah, come and give us a watch, give us a listen. It's something intended, hopefully you could pop in the background and just watch and have a bit of fun along with. And I think we're going to try and sort out yourself coming on as well soon, Finn, as a commentator. It's a bit hard though, because obviously if you're going to do Borough one, I think Borough are flying at the minute, but they get relegated. So at some point they're going to fall off a cliff, and it'll probably be about the time we ask you to come on, won't it?
Yeah, well, I would expect nothing but misery for Borough for me, so that's fine. It's fine, man.
Paul Wilkinson's currently flying him in, so
lovely stuff. We'll have them. We'll have that. As soon as you give it time and a place, Mike, we'll do it.
Absolutely. And if anyone watching ever wants to get involved and come on and do a bit of guest commentary from the old days, it's no experience needed. Just come and have a bit of fun. You can, more than happy to.
Well, from that Riverside to this one, I'd like to thank Michael for coming on, Fionn
Cheers,
as
man.
always, and myself. You can follow us at Cultures Pod on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. You can also follow.
We're on there as well.
You can follow Premstars HQ.
Premstars 8, I think it is.
Premstars 8.
That one for kids. Yeah.
You'll have to follow them to find out what they ate. No, he's never off, is he? He's never off. Unlike Iron Robin. No. You can follow Mike, follow Fionn at Fionn Potato. Follow Fionn's band, a very good Vulture Authority.
I have had a listen. Sensational.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal.
We'll get you in a video commentating over, like, I don't know, something.
You've
Norwich footage. So
you've got some.
Happily, anything you need. Yeah.
You've got
this is the dulcet tones people need over football.
You've got some gigs coming up, Fionn. Where are they?
Oh yeah, shit, yeah. 26th of Jan, Friday. Friday's next Friday. Or tomorrow, if it comes out next week. If it does, fuck it. 26th of Jan, Liverpool. Shipping forecast. Yeah, there you go.
I am opening somewhere in Liverpool on the 24th. Don't know where, but come along. And I think Manchester the day after, again, venue TBC. Right, it's been absolutely lovely. Thank you once again, Mike. Thank you, Fionn. Follow us at Cultures Pod, and we'll see you next week with another guest.
Yeah.